And welcome back to the movie date. I'm Emmett, and this is Rob for the the movie podcast that don't want to be too smug about it. Did I say that right? I don't think I said that right.
You said some of that right, but it's okay.
Some of that right?
You said it out of order, but you said all the right things, so I'm fine with it. It's like saying, "Can I take your order? Welcome to McDonald's. Have a nice day." It's like, well, all those are technically correct.
I have done that before.
I will.
And the weird thing is, I did it at Pizza Hut. I said, "Welcome to Domino's. How can I help you?"
I do that all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, saves the wrong place that you work at.
Yeah.
Whatever. Today, it's been longer than it should have been before we got back in here.
Yes.
Don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about the other podcast is not even up yet.
Yes, but if you're listening to this, it probably is by now, so you probably won't even notice. But like,
you will have no idea. Just don't.
It's been over a month, and I have to get like new artwork and stuff made. But it's coming. It's coming. All right. I finally achieved some sense of normalcy. But today we're talking another traditional superhero fair. And today we are talking about, what are we talking about, Emmett?
SHAZAM,
as I call it.
SHAZAM.
Incorrectly. We're talking about the Big Red Cheese, Earth's mightiest mortal, formerly Captain Marvel, but you can't call him that anymore because Marvel owns the right to that name. So
now
SHAZAM
he's the world's strongest magician.
No, the world's mightiest mortal. This is his moniker.
Well, I just made that one up.
Yeah, we're talking SHAZAM though, baby. I've been excited for this movie. When I went to St. Louis with my with my significant other, my lady friend, she bought me a SHAZAM Funko Pop. I wish I had it here to show you, but I have it, and it's downstairs.
Was it delicious?
No, a Funko Pop is like those little bobblehead things. They're not bobbleheads.
I thought it was like a soda.
No, but you'd be forgiven for thinking that. But yes, yeah.
I think they should make a SHAZAM soda. I'd drink it.
Yeah. Like you drink it and like electrocutes you, turns you into a big buff version of yourself.
Right. Or just give like a little, like just kind of.
Or just a regular soda.
Make your hair stand up. Like the science experiments do at the museums and whatnot.
Yeah. Or just a regular soda that you can drink and enjoy.
Too, just the regular sodas that give you cancer. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Just put chemicals in it.
Yeah.
Like, substances that make it addictive, that you put in cigarettes or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. So movie news. We actually have a bunch of DC movie news today, which is weird because I didn't plan this. I didn't save it all for this movie. It just actually turned out that way. I'm turning this light on as I shuffle across the room. Oh my God. Where's the switch? There we go.
It's right there. It's to the left. To the right.
But we have a lot of movie news today, some of which you probably haven't heard of, but I actually would like your input on, and some of which you probably have heard of. The first thing is apparently the new Flash movie with Ezra Miller from Justice League, the guy who was the Flash. The rumor was it was probably going to be indefinitely canceled because he is doing the Fantastic Beasts movies.
Yeah.
He's in that movie. Shh, computer. And
I don't see a reason why I can't do both.
Yeah. And well, the thing is the last Fantastic Beasts movie didn't do that great. So the next one is, I think, being delayed a little bit. And the rumor was they had to get a Flash movie into production or his contract would expire and they'd have to recast yet another DC hero, which I actually don't like. I kind of like him as the Flash for the most part. So
I think he did a pretty good job.
I don't think I'd want him recast. So the rumor was a lot of people weren't happy with the script that was coming out. So Ezra Miller by himself went to comic book writer Grant Morrison, and they have been writing a script together, which is very unusual for an actor to do, but that probably means he really likes and wants to do it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And the rumor is it's going to
probably
shoot.
Means he also really hated the script. We're doing this right. I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah. And I think what it was is the original Flash script before Zack Snyder sort of took his sidestep out of the DC universe was probably a slightly darker movie and probably featured more time travel, where I bet you the rumor was this new script was more of a typical origin story, which I feel like
Right.
I want the time travel.
Yeah, I do too. We all know these origin stories, they're everywhere.
He's gonna fight a guy that looks like him and has similar powers, like Iron Man or Black Panther or Ant-Man or any number where they have basically the same powers.
I don't mind the Reverse Flash, but
Reverse Flash is a great character.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
He came about through time travel. Let's keep it that way.
You can do that, yeah. And the rumor it was gonna be some type of a Flashpoint story, which if if you've ever read Flashpoint, it's a pretty great story.
I have. It's a really great story.
Yeah, Shazam is technically in Flashpoint. Wonder Woman kills him. Wonder Woman kills a child.
Yeah.
In the story.
Yeah,
it's not good. I don't like it.
Yeah, I have watched the movie. I've not read the comic it's based off of.
It's
but
they're pretty faithful to each other. There's more. There's more backstory with Aquaman and Wonder Woman and stuff.
Yeah.
But like my favorite part of the movie is still in the comic book, which is where where after he comes back in time, he's talking to Batman. He's like, oh my God, I can still, even though I erased that timeline, I can still remember all the shit that happened in that timeline. I can remember because I can remember having birthdays with my mother, even though now she's dead again, or whatever. And then Batman says, well, maybe it's better not to question it. It's probably just a gift and you should just sort of, be happy for it. And then he goes, yeah, a gift. And then under the little magnifying glass that Batman's looking through, he slides the letter and it says for Bruce. And he goes, this is my father's handwriting. And then he opens it up and it's a letter from Batman's dad. And you don't see what it says, but you just see the tears come down Batman's face. And it's the most satisfying character arc I've ever seen in any comic book. And I love it. And if anything, I just want Ben Affleck to come back for one movie just so that he can do that scene so that I can weep like a child.
Well, I don't think I didn't really care for Ben Affleck. I mean, I liked him.
Really? Because a lot of people are like, might be the best cast of them all in a way.
I mean, like.
Also, on the dovetail of this, new Batman casting.
I think in Justice League just kind of tore his character apart because like Batman would not be the one that would want to bring Superman back to life. That is not his character.
Well, I feel like, again, it's hard to talk about Justice League without talking about like all the reshoots and the rejiggering of that movie because this all ties into our next casting. One, Robert Pattinson has been cast as the younger Batman.
No, he's not. Tom Cruise is going to be great in Batman as that movie.
Really? You think you're not a fan of the Pattinson?
Yes. No, I am not.
Here's the thing. That's
why I think Batista's going to do a great job with the character.
Just going to keep naming other people until it happens. Here's the thing. I'm actually like, people were really shitting on Affleck when he got cast. And I say...
Yeah, I first started doing that thing with Affleck and then they...
I say that he's one of the best Batman ever.
I mean, Justice Man versus Superman, or Batman versus Superman. I'm sorry.
That's a great version of the character.
A great version. Yeah, I think he nailed it.
And I think that it's hard to talk about Justice League without talking about all the stuff that was taken out of that movie. Yeah. Because that movie and Zack Snyder had a big Q&A. He did a 3-day weekend where he watched the director's cuts with a big crowd and at a college. It was a 3-day thing. They watched the director's cut of Watchmen, the director's cut of Sucker Punch, I think, or not Sucker Punch, the director's cut of Dawn of the Dead, and the director's cut of Batman v Superman. And then
that's a weird one to throw in there. Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, well, it's his director's cuts. He only got like 3 of them. I think Sucker Punch kind of has one, but it's not as interesting.
Yeah, I never liked that movie.
Yeah, it's all right. Cool action sequences and a bunch of like meta stuff. It's confusing and I don't enjoy as much. But
it really turns into just a daydream of sorts.
Yeah, but during the Batman v Superman one, he got a bunch of Justice League questions, a bunch of release the Snyder Cut questions, a bunch of what was originally your plan for all these things, and like the original. And there's so much to really parse through here, but the original thing was like Batman in Justice League 1 was like a lot of like his character stuff was rewritten. For example, the opening sequence where he fights the burglar on the rooftop, that wasn't in the movie. Joss Whedon shot that and reshot that into the movie, which actually I don't hate. It's fine. I don't like the fact that he leaves the burglar on the rooftop at the end. Like he caught him committing a crime and he's like, it's because Superman's dead, right? That was happening. He just looks back at him and he jumps off the ledge of the building and then it goes to title card or whatever. And I was like, put a batarang around him. He's still a thief. He's probably killed somebody. He had a gun on him.
Right.
He's a loose cannon. Anyway.
Yeah, so it seems like a loose end and Batman.
So for all the people bitching that like Zack Snyder doesn't understand Batman, I don't know if Joss Whedon understands him either. Apparently a bunch of stuff was changed. One, they simplified the story and added a lot more humor, and all of the stuff that sort of connects to like Batman v Superman and like his character arc. Because at the end of Batman v Superman, he gives you that the men are still good speech where he's like, I failed him in life, I won't fail him in death. So I feel like Batman bringing back Superman is something I would believe based on how that movie ends, and it's that whole movie is basically, I don't have time we'll do a Batman v Superman episode where I can parse through it all, but that whole movie is about Batman learning to become a hero again, because that whole movie he's a jaded like sociopath, and he's murdering people left and right, and that's the point of the character. Is like he's not really Batman anymore. He still dresses in the suit, but he's focused on one thing, which is plotting Superman's murder, which is not a very Batman-y thing to do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the movie, I do believe like he has a very redemptive story arc. I mean, that's what that whole warehouse scene is. Like, one, it's an awesome action sequence, but two, it's symbolically him trying to save his own mom again or something like that. So I do believe that Batman, and the rumor was Batman in this was like a really crazed, almost like suicidal Batman. Like he's really sort of ashamed of his actions. So bringing back Superman is his ultimate comeuppance, and there's supposed to be a scene at the end of the movie where he almost like kills himself, but the League comes in at the last minute and saves him. It's supposed to be all sorts of like, him being like grimly determined, but you don't really get that in Justice League as much. Not to mention every piece of the flashback sequence of Batman v Superman was cut out of the movie. The scene where you see him in the desert with the Mad Max outfit on, and you see the big dark side symbol carved in the earth, and the Superman soldiers come down, and then the parademons. Right. Zack Snyder was talking about what his original version of Justice League was, and his original version of Justice League was there's a line in the movie, and you can actually hear it in the trailers. Here's the thing, is if you watch those Justice League trailers, there are dozens of clips and scenes of like Batman saying stuff that's just taken out. It's out of the movie. It's gone. It's like it's not even in the movie anymore. And one of them was...
Right, and I hate it when they do that.
Yeah, and that's because so much of it was reshot. His original version of Justice League was 3 hours, and the version in the theaters is 2 hours plus, like, not including Joss Whedon scenes. So that means there's almost 90 minutes of Zack Snyder's movie that we haven't even seen. Yeah. And his version of was some of the stuff that was changed is that big history sequence where we see when Steppenwolf first comes to Earth. And there's that big Lord of the Rings style battle, and you see like the old Greek gods. You see a Green Lantern, and they all.
That was my favorite part.
I know it's right out of like his version of 300. It looked almost like verbatim like that. And the version was not only was Steppenwolf there, and I just showed you the image before we started this. Darkseid was there. Yeah. And probably before he was as powerful, it's probably like a younger Darkseid, and he fights Ares, like the god of war from Wonder Woman. Yeah. And Zeus is also there, and Artemis. And it's basically like a version of like the Justice League from like 10,000 BC. Right. Versus like the Apocalyptians and Darkseid. That's completely cut out of the movie.
I think it would have been better if that original character like made that cameo as Ares again.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, he does? He looks completely different.
They use different outfits because like this is like before Wonder Woman. So the idea was like the Greek gods were more savage and more barbaric in a way. Yeah. So they didn't get like the cool, nice, fancy Renaissance clothes until like a few thousand years later. But like, that's why Ares has like a skull and he's a big axe and it's like very brutal. But at the end of that scene where you see the 3 mother boxes and they split them up, the guy takes his helmet off and you see like David Thewlis's face, who plays Ares. They just sort of CGI'd on there. The guy didn't come back, but the stunt guy who plays Ares confirmed there was that sequence was twice as long in the movie. And it's completely watered down now. I still like it. It's still cool. But like the Green Lantern and Ares would speak to each other.
I think I remember actually seeing that cut somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah. There's little pieces of it that have been extended and stuff. But the guy said, I had a fight sequence with Darkseid. And he goes, and it's not in the movie. And I was like, oh my God. Like we could have seen Darkseid and he's not in the movie. It's so bullshit. Right. And apparently the thing was, there were sort of 2 timelines that happened. And in BVS, when we see that terrifying nightmare sequence, that's a future timeline where Superman has succumbed to the anti-life equation and he's killed some of the other members of the Justice League, or maybe Darkseid killed him or whatever. And so like Earth basically fell to Darkseid. And the thing is, the only 3 people that are left alive are Batman, who is killed in that sequence essentially, Cyborg, but he's kind of like broken and like barely holding it together, and the Flash. And that's why right after that sequence, Batman told the Flash, like, if anything ever happens to me, you need to go back in time and warn me of what's going to come. And the thing was, Zack Snyder came up with a time travel idea that says, you'd have to sort of do time travel when Earth was in the same part of space in its rotation. Because if the Earth was like on the other side of space and you time traveled back to over here, you'd materialize in space and you'd be dead. So you have to do it like when the Earth is in the right position. And there was 2 windows that he said. And Batman asked Cyborg, and he was like, which window would you send me through if you didn't ask me? And he was, I would send you through this one. And he goes, don't send me through that one because Barry Allen came into my bat cave and was talking about Lois Lane is the key and am I too soon? And none of it made any sense because he was too soon. It was too early. So he waits. The other one is like a year later. And he has to time travel back to the Batcave to warn Bruce right before Darkseid boom tubes into the Batcave and kills Lois Lane. And Superman he sort of breaks a little bit and he lets him just become weak enough to become susceptible to the anti-life equation, which is what that whole future is. So Justice League 2 would have been the League takes the fight to Darkseid. They go into space, Green Lantern arrives, and they fight Darkseid off-world. It goes badly, and he comes... and then Darkseid comes to Earth and demolishes it, and like the next part of the movie is like this big time travel-y story. Basically, he had Avengers Endgame written before Avengers Endgame was written because he had all this planned out from Batman v Superman because that whole flashback sequence is in there. So I was like, would you not rather have seen that than like the discount light Avengers that we got?
Yeah, I would have much rather seen that.
I mean, that sounds like so much more interesting. And I was like, we could have gotten to see his interpretation of the Green Lanterns. And now, like, you know, now it's just kind of like Justice League is a whatever movie. Like, it's fine. I don't hate it. Cyborg had a bunch of stuff cut out. Like, Cyborg was supposed to be like the heart of the film.
Right.
Like there's a part at the end of the movie. It's in one of the trailers where you see him crying and you see him like look up into the sky and scream because he sees a vision of this future when he's interacting with the mother boxes. And he goes inside the mother box where Darkseid is there and he tries to tempt him to like turn against them and stuff. And when it doesn't go badly, Darkseid, like the mother box detonates and kills everybody. And then right before that happens, Cyborg screams Barry, and the Flash turns back the clock to do it all again. So we saw time travel in Justice League. All these little things that like set these awesome seeds for future movies, and we got it replaced so we could get like jokes.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Anyway, that's enough of that.
It's not what I want in my DC. I like it in my Marvel, but
yeah, I don't mind jokes. I just like if you make it awesome, like I don't care. But yeah, like so that's enough of that. I actually am kind of psyched to see Robert Pattinson because despite all the Twilight movies, I've seen that dude in a lot of other movies where I think he's actually really good, and he does look like young Ben Affleck.
All I know is if I see a sparkling Batman.
Oh, you're not going to. You really think they're going to, like the dude who's doing this did like the Planet of the Apes movies.
Someone's going to do that as like a, here, let's just do this to piss someone off cameo.
Yeah.
Like, let's just kind of have some little girl run by and just throw glitter on him. Like I see them doing that.
I'd appreciate that. I mean, look, everyone disparaged Ben Affleck, and he got like swole for that movie, and he crushed it. And this dude, I feel like this dude could do a young Ben Affleck's Batman before he goes crazy or whatever. I think he could do it, especially with the director that they have.
I mean,
what do you want to?
I think he would have been a better villain, to be honest. Like,
could be a good Hush. Put him in bandages.
Yeah, or maybe the Riddler.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all, actually. I kind of like that idea. Look, I wanted Ben Affleck.
My favorite pick for the Riddler would actually be Johnny Depp, but
yeah, I wanted Ben Affleck to stay on because I wanted to see his story as Batman.
Yeah,
and I wanted to see like what his prequel looked like. What do you want to see from before we get into Shazam and stuff? What do you want to see from a Batman solo movie? Because it's younger, so we know it's going to be a prequel.
Yeah. What I want to see is
I want it to be real comic booky.
Yeah,
like I want like. The weirder the villains, the better. Croc, like Killer Croc, can come back or whatever. Like I want like because the Nolan movies.
I would like to see him actually like verse some of his villains we saw in Suicide Squad, like Killer Croc and who else?
Sure. Deadshot. I mean, Will Smith's not going to do it probably, but like
probably not. But
not for like a little cameo of him getting beaten up by Batman. But like you can have like you can
maybe Slade.
Oh yeah, Deathstroke. You can see because Deathstroke is at the end of Justice League, so like you could do that. Show like him his interaction because that was originally that's why the end of Justice League had him in it. They reshoot the end of that post-credit scene with Jesse Eisenberg where he says, "Shouldn't we have a league of our own?" That was reshot. The rest of it was Zack Snyder's though because that was setting up Ben Affleck's Batman movie, which was going to be Batman fighting Deathstroke, who was hired by Lex Luthor to out the Batman to the world and kill him.
Yeah.
So yeah,
see, that would be a good. I would watch that movie.
Yeah, exactly. And now we set up a Legion of Doom movie that may or may not happen. Which I like the Legion of Doom, but I'm just saying, like,
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think we will get a Justice League 2 once we get like another Shazam movie and like some of these other characters,
What
and then
I
we'll
want to
have
talk about actually is who do you think would be good for the next Green Lantern?
the dude that played Cyclops in the X-Men movies, James Marsden. He'd be a good Hal Jordan.
Actually, I think I'd want them to go with Jon Stewart and have.
Well, the rumor is that they're going to do both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah, it's going to be like it's going to be like Lethal Weapon in space.
But they both carried the same ring.
There's versions where there've been like multiple Earth Green Lanterns.
Huh.
I have. Blackest Night downstairs has multiple Green Lanterns in it. Kyle Rayner's in it. Like, so I mean, like, you could do all that stuff.
I did not know that.
And also, like, just because it's in the comic books, like, you can take liberty. Like, Zack Snyder makes Ben Affleck's Batman like kill people and stuff. Like, I mean, like, there's 2 rings from this one planet. Yeah, like, who cares?
Like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Who'd be a great like Jon Stewart? Everyone wants Idris Elba.
Yeah,
which I think would be good. Or the dude from American Gods on Stars. I can't remember his name. Yeah, but he'd be a good Jon Stewart as well. But yeah, I think we will get a Justice League 2 eventually, but I don't know when. But I feel like if DC's plan is just to make good solo movies, that's not enough. Like, you can make Aquaman made over $1 billion.
You've got to get the solo movie down before you can make the team collaboration. That was their mistake.
I feel like I don't know if that's true, because I feel like Zack Snyder's Justice League probably would have been dope. So we don't need a million.
Maybe it would.
But I feel like once DC gets some of these other characters established, we will get another Justice League of some kind. I just hope that it still ties into those early movies, because I still want to see that character arc, especially for Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he still is in these movies.
I don't need
Superman is technically in Shazam, but is he?
Yes, is that Henry Cavill?
Anyway, so let's talk Mandalorian footage. I showed it to you. Star Wars goodness. What'd you think?
I'm excited, but at the same time, like, unless I at least get to see some story on the Darksaber, because that was one of the whole, like, things of the Mandalorians.
Yeah, but this doesn't, from what I understand, this doesn't take place on Mandalore. He's off in the Outer Rim as like a gunfighter / bounty hunter kind of dude. So I don't think it takes place on Mandalore. I think it's just like he is a Mandalorian. Like, he came from that place.
That would be disappointing.
Really?
I mean, not so in so many words, but without getting like the backstory of his people and his planet and that kind of origin story. I don't know. Maybe I just want to see the Darksaber too much.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I just.
It's on Rebels or Clone Wars.
Yeah,
maybe both. I don't know. I haven't finished Rebels.
It's Rebels.
I feel like they wouldn't call something the Mandalorian without doing like a good bit of backstory on where he comes from and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
I thought everything looked very impressive though. Like for a, it's on a streaming service from what I understand.
Yeah,
Disney.
I think it's going on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and it's for like a Disney production. It looks quite gritty and grim, and I want it. I want Disney to like commit to it.
I was already kind of hooked when I saw Jon Favreau. I'm just like, he's behind this. Okay,
Jon Favreau, from what I understand, he's done Iron Man 1, which is great. Iron Man 2, which is awful. Cowboys and Aliens, which is whatever. Jungle Book, Chef, and The New Lion King. That's what I can remember off the top of my head. Those are the big ones that he's done.
And I've never been disappointed with any of those.
Yeah. Even Iron Man 2, which is not a good movie. Like, there's redeeming moments in it.
Let's face it, that's all
it's all Robert Downey, man.
Well, no, I mean, it's the reason why it was bad was all who played the villain again? Mickey Rourke. It's all his fault.
Yeah, he's weird.
Yeah, he's weird, especially as a Russian. That was so weird.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like a freaking
Plus, to be fair, like, they really rushed him into that movie. Because that Iron Man came out in 2008. He got that movie out in, like, 2010-ish. Like, early 2010 or something like that. So, like, he really got the ball rolling and probably didn't have enough time to make the story that he wanted to. But it did, like, a lot of universe buildings. Like, it is what it is. I'm super stoked to see it, and I want to see like backstabbing, and like I want like Disney to sort of commit to like maybe not R-rated, but I want them to commit to like an adult sort of feel for the Mandalorian. I don't want it to be like, I want them to like separate, like Last Jedi felt more or less pretty tame. I want it to feel a little more like Rogue One.
Yeah.
To get somewhere in that territory. Like, I don't have to see like people's heads being decapitated or anything, but like I would want to see like some.
I need to see that.
Yeah, he's a bounty hunter. Like, it's okay to let him bounty hunt.
I want to see him disintegrate people.
Yeah. Use a thermal detonator. Is that what they're called? Thermal detonator?
I don't know.
Do you, what did you think of the Rise of Skywalker trailer? Have you seen it yet?
Yes, I have, and I have.
Are you stoked? You look stoked. Your face looks stoked right now.
But I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Like, for one, how are you calling it the Rise of Skywalker? He's dead. Mm-hmm. They're all dead.
Well, I mean, he could be a Force ghost,
Yeah.
We hear his voice in the trailer. No one's ever really gone. Or is that just from The Last Jedi? Or do you think that's dialogue from the new movie?
I don't know.
I see what you mean about these questions. They're everywhere.
I can't remember, but still, I could see it being dialogue from a previous movie and Rey just remembering it. But at the same time, he could still be coming back and talking to her as a Force ghost, like whispering sweet nothings in her ear.
Yeah.
No one's ever really gone.
Yeah. Do you feel like we didn't get enough time to like see her training?
Yes.
I do too.
But I mean,
what is a Jedi's
she's supposedly one of those prodigies. I mean, she's just been able to at least get her head wrapped around certain Force techniques without anyone even telling her they were a thing, like in the first movie.
Yeah. I feel like...
Did you know that was 007 behind that Stormtrooper mask?
I did. It's Daniel Craig.
Yes.
It's great. Yeah. Because I think he was like, they were shooting on the same lot. And J.J. Abrams was like, they were shooting on the studio next door, and he was like, can I do a cameo? It was like, and just put him in the thing. That's kind of cool that he like,
right? He just popped in. Hey,
I mean, they're giving him $40 million to do 2 more James Bond movies, and if you ask me, he was over it. Like the last movie, he was like, done with this.
He kept getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, like I liked Skyfall, and I think Casino Royale is still the best one that he's done.
Oh, yeah. I thought Casino Royale was a bit too slowly paced for me, but it is one of my favorite ones.
But it's like intense.
First 10 minutes was amazing.
Yeah. But anyway, it's kind of cool that he cared enough to do that. But like he has a thing in his contract for James Bond where he's like, I'm not running anymore. In action sequences, like, I'm not running. I'm too old and I'm too tired. It takes enough for me to just stay in shape. I'm not running anymore. I think that's a real thing that he said. For a guy who's so over it, why is he doing it? Go do something else. Do anything else.
The same reason Harrison Ford does
I know it's money, but you see him in that in The Force Awakens, like you tell he enjoys things. I don't know. I don't want him to not enjoy what he's doing. I don't know why I give a fuck. He's like a billionaire or something. Anyway, let's talk Shazam or questions from Rise of Skywalker. The Emperor. What's that all about?
What is that all about? Like, why? Why is this? This has been so many years. Like, dude's got to be like, how old? 150?
Could he be a Force ghost?
Can dark side people become Force ghosts?
I didn't think that was a thing.
I don't
red Force ghosts? Is he a red one? Like the nice ones are blue? He's like a red Force ghost?
Or did he never die? Because they're at the fallen Dead Star that apparently fell on some kind of planet somehow.
If the Death Star fell on a planet, it would destroy the planet. It's the size of a moon.
We saw it.
That's true.
You're just sitting there out there in the water, like, and the thing is, it looked like it was still miles away.
Yeah. That's fair enough.
So this thing still looks
because it's like the size of a moon. Remember, like it's that small moon. But I was like, and
even Han Solo is like too big to be a space station.
But I feel like J.J. Abrams is notorious for like misdirecting people. Especially when, like, in the Star Trek movies and Star Trek Into Darkness, they kept asking him, like, who's Benedict Cumberbatch's character? It's like, is it Khan? We feel like it's Khan. It's like, it's totally not Khan. I promise you, like, I wouldn't even do that. And in the movie, it's Khan. It's like, he'll lie to you in interviews. So I don't feel like he would put that laugh at the end unless he was going to do something with the character. And Ian McDermott, who plays the Emperor, came on stage at Star Wars Celebration to reveal the trailer. So I feel like if you're bringing him back, there's something going on there. If it's just like a weird like Force vision or something, I don't think I'll like it. Like,
what if it's just the laugh? What if that laugh is all he did the entire movie, just to scare people in a vision?
You're a bullshitter, J.J. Abrams. This is why no one likes Lost or whatever. You don't know how to finish your stories or whatever. But I am excited for it. I was like, was that ship that's charging at her at the beginning? Is that Kylo Ren? In his little TIE fighter?
It is.
Because like I saw like his gloves on it when he's maneuvering it, and I was like, it looks like his gloves.
Yeah, I want to say it is.
Yeah.
It's got to be someone important.
Yeah. Rey looks like she has a grasp on the Force. This has to be like a time jump because Force Awakens and Jedi take place like within a day of each other.
I hope it's a time jump, unlike last time. Oh, this movie picks up immediately.
It has to be like
from The Last Jedi, but it's not going to be in any kind of sequence.
The one thing I am happy about, and I didn't see this in the trailers, but I did hear it. Like I heard it in like interviews or whatever. The Knights of Ren are in this movie. Because you hear that, like that little mythology.
Yes, I hope so. Oh, please.
Well, because like in The Force Awakens, it says like Master of the Knights of Ren. And then all for both of those movies, I was like, what are the Knights of Ren? Where are they? Are they his other disciples?
Who are these people?
Why aren't they helping him when he's getting his ass kicked by Rey in the forest? Or like, why doesn't he call them for The Last Jedi when he needs to go and do? So like, we have an opportunity to see like some of his other fallen Jedi or whatever. Like that, I feel like that alone could be really cool and something we haven't seen before.
Yeah,
more Force users. That's what I want to see some of that. I would like to see like Rey training in a way, or like trying to be better. So far, all we see from like Jedi is like their training consists of like doing push-ups and running, and Empire. That's all we see them. Like, what is Jedi training? If I were to ask you that, like, what is it? Just based on the movies. It is
Mark Hamill being sarcastic with a stick.
Yes, like just like what is like I haven't seen like all the Clone Wars and stuff. Like I have, but I don't remember all of them. But if you're just going off the movies, what does a Jedi's training consist of? You lifting rocks while doing handstands in Empire? Like
you sprint through the forest while doing barrel flips.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like being in shape isn't important, but like what does it consist of? Anyway,
it consists on standing on top of your head while levitating a rock, while visually
seeing visions of your friends dying or whatever. I just say like I feel like I guess that is probably good training, because if you're levitating while focusing on doing something physical, that's probably like difficult. But like I feel like we've never gotten a chance to see like what Jedi training consists of. And I feel like that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, we only got like snippets of stuff here and there.
Like, what would the dark side training? Just get real mad as they whack on each other. Yeah, I am excited. How are they going to do the Leia stuff? There's a scene of her hugging Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, apparently it was a bunch of stuff that was shot for the previous Jedi movie. Stuff. Yeah, and they're just reworking it to make her scenes and dialogue actually fit.
Yeah, because that's going to be tricky, because any scenes that have her and Leia in them, she's only met Leia for 2 days.
Yeah.
She's with her for Force Awakens, and she's alive at the end of The Last Jedi. So unless they worked like she died in between the movies, she's dead now. Like, unless they're going to do that stuff, like any scenes with her in them, I'm going to be like, if they try to tell me like, oh, this is just a flashback they had from before The Last Jedi, I'm like, they only knew each other for a day before The Last Jedi. This scene is bullshit. I don't believe it. Like, but if they have like a big enough time jump, they could just say there's something in there. Yeah, I'm excited though. Yeah. That trailer did get me hyped. I want to see something. The next trailer, I bet it'd be like a big deal. Something big had better happen.
Yes,
like something big.
Something.
We're moving on to Shazam. We've talked enough movie news. I don't give a shit about any of this. I want to talk about Shazam.
All right, Shazam. What were your expectations, Rob?
He put it on me. I like being on the spot like this. My expectations were actually really high for this movie. I had a lot of hope. I had a lot of hope for it, but I also wanted it to be really good because, one, I feel like the character gets slept on. I feel like a lot of people go, oh, we already have a Superman. I was like it's just funnier Superman with a lightning bolt or whatever. But I feel like his character, especially recently, like in the last 5 years, they've done a lot of interesting stuff with that character, because like from anything from like the wizard who gives him his power has changed. Like where before it was just an old man in a white robe, and in the new 52 version, not only is the guy like he's like a kind of a darker character, and but that guy is also, he's on like a council, like, and you see it in the movies. There's 7 thrones behind him of like where his brothers and sisters of magic sat, and like the members of the Rock of Eternity were like an Illuminati group almost. They would watch for mystical threats or magical threats against the world and stuff.
Right.
And if you were guilty of magical crimes, they would convict you to some magical punishment, like you're like kind of like the gods punished Sisyphus to push a boulder up a hill and it would always roll back down or whatever. Something like that. Something that was kind of like karmic justice. And I was like, I like that idea. I like the tease. I wanted like teases for Black Adam to be in the movie as well. And like the character of Shazam himself, like he joins the Justice League in a much bigger way in the New 52, and he's in the Trinity War run as like a cool cameo. And I was like, that's like they did a lot of cool stuff for them. So like I wanted this movie to like convince me like this to distinguish the character from Superman enough to where the possibilities would be endless. And I feel like I got that. I'm pretty happy.
I think we got that.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the character, and I'm pretty happy with the movie, and I think it met my expectations, except for maybe one thing, which I'll talk about like when we get into like more details of the movie. What were your expectations?
Mine were met. I expected like a movie of if some kid actually got superpowers and became a superhero. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what they do. Sure. I'm happy with this.
Yeah. I guess we could just go ahead and get right into it then. Let's start with we'll start with like non-spoilers. We'll start with like the good. One of the things that I think this movie, this is kind of both, I guess I'm kind of criticizing it but also praising it at the same time. This movie is based very heavily off of his New 52 like 5-6 issue run. That Jeff Johns sort of rebooted him for that universe, and down to the point to where like it takes scenes from that and just puts it in the movie. I like Jeff Johns. I hope all these movies don't just keep like isn't just Jeff Johns going, I wrote a version of this character, let's just use that. Just use this version. Like he's good, but I don't want him for everything.
Yeah.
Down to the version where like you see in the trailer, this is not a spoiler because in the trailers, him and Freddy go to the convenience store to like get like, you know, junk food or whatever. That's right out of his version.
I did love that scene in there when they figure out he's bulletproof. Oh, you're bulletproof.
Yeah.
Wait, how do we know if it's not just a suit? Hey, shoot him in the face.
Shoot him in the face or whatever. I love how like even the design of him getting hit in the face, you see little dimples where the bullets hit him. And I was like, that's pretty good. It draws a lot from that New 52 run. So part of it was like, I'm giving it extra credit because I almost knew the whole movie because I'd read that run.
Right.
So, but a testament to like how good the movie is like me, when I was watching the movie, like I knew all the twists and turns, but I still liked the movie at the end, even though I knew it. So like that to me was really good. Let's talk about performances. What did you think about, let's talk with like Zachary Levi as Shazam and his buddy Freddy and like Dr. Savannah, the bad guy.
I feel that what's his face plays Shazam? What was his name again? You just said it.
Zachary Levi.
I felt if he has like a teenage kid around that age, he spent a lot of time hanging out with him and his friends.
Yeah.
Just to get that. Because he kind of really enveloped that like preteen kind of attitude towards.
He does the goofy dances and stuff, the flossing or whatever. Yeah, he's really good. And that guy's like, he's been trying to have a breakthrough role for a while. He also plays Fandral in the Thor movies. One of the Warriors 3. The swashbuckling one. And nobody remembers because he has like 0 lines.
Well, is that the one with the rapier sword?
Yeah. That's him.
That's because he replaced the guy because he's a different guy.
He plays the first one.
Yeah.
He's in the last 2. And in the third one, he has 0 lines. He gets killed immediately. And he was really bitter about that. But I think he's like, I was concerned. My biggest concern was that like between him and Asher Angel, the kid who plays young Billy, I wouldn't feel like they were the same person, just bigger. I mean, that was a concern, but by the end of the movie, I felt like it was good. Yeah, and I felt like that's actually a credit to the kid actor because he's the one who probably made me believe it more.
Right.
By the end of the movie, like there's a part like where he sucker punches the bad guy or whatever, and I was like, yeah, that feels like, but he does it as Shazam. So like I was like, that's something the kid would do. So I'm kind of seeing it like I didn't want to feel like it's 2 different people.
Right.
And in a way, like this is like part of the mythos of Shazam. It's like not only depending on who's writing it or like which continuity it's in, he is not just grown up Billy Batson, but he's like the best Billy Batson could ever be, which is probably not in this movie because I feel like if this is the best he's going to be, he's not that valuable as a superhero. But he probably will get better. But like in certain versions, it's his when he turns into Captain Marvel, he becomes like it's his dad. It's his like baby memories of his dad. So he looks like his dad when he grows up. Because then in those stories, when he grows up, he doesn't look like Shazam. It's an idealized version of himself, superheroes, and like in his father, like mixed together. Also, but I thought he was really good and really endearing, especially like by the end of it. I would have liked the character to become like a little more confident by the end of the movie. We'll get into that like in negatives, I guess. But I thought they were really good. And I actually really liked the bad guy of this movie way more than I thought. I thought he was going to be really boring. I didn't think he was.
I didn't think he was going to be good either because like...
Discount Lex Luthor.
Yes, discount Lex Luthor. Like you even got Lionel Luthor.
As his dad.
Yeah, as his dad.
Smallville.
Like, yeah. Like you seriously just rewatched that whole thing, and then you took an episode of Smallville that when he took Clark's powers.
But like from the moment we see him as a kid, which is like that's a small spoiler, but like you see Savannah as a kid briefly in the movie, to like the boardroom scene later. Like all of that I thought was really good, and I actually felt like I didn't necessarily feel sympathy for him. But I felt like his reasons for being a bad guy are perfectly fleshed out. Yeah,
and that's also when it actually felt like immediately that, okay, this is not Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
This starts...
Although he is a bald head of a very sinister tech company or whatever, which is,
But he does start to feel different.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Wizard? You liked him.
I like the Wizard, yes. I did. Yeah. I did.
I like... they're in the I like the fact that, like, in this version especially, I like the way the magic looks. It's weird and mystical and like it's cool, for lack of a better word. I like the fact that this wizard, like in the old like 50s version or whatever of this character, it's very much like I found the person with the purest heart who's the best person. But in this one, it's like I'm kind of taking a risk.
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of out of options.
Yeah, I see enough here that I think there's something I can work with or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of wish they had kind of kept more of the dialogue from the original like comic when they first meet.
Yeah,
because he's sitting there like you are. Or I can't remember what he said, but he needs someone pure of heart or whatever. Yeah, and then Billy just looks at him like you're looking for a needle in a haystack. You're never gonna find that.
Yeah, and he kind of there's a little bit of that in the movie, but in the comic book, it's really effective because at first he goes
because there's that honesty that made him want to give Billy a chance.
And even the wizard. At first, the wizard goes, "Nope, there's another dud here. We're gonna get out of here." Like I can't remember if it was him or if there's like spirits in the little rock of eternity around him, and one of them goes, "Hold on now," and he goes, "Like look harder," and then like he looks deeper into his soul or into his past. I think there's like a version. I can't remember if it's a comic book or the movie. Like there's a homeless guy is getting beaten up by some thugs, and he gets the thugs to leave him alone, and then the thugs beat him up, and then like leave them both there beaten up or whatever. And then after that happened, the homeless guy asks him like, "Do you got some? Do you have any money?"
That was the animated movie.
Is it?
Yeah, Batman and Shazam, or no, Superman and Shazam
versus Black Adam. Yeah, and he gives him his own. He gives him the only thing he has, which is a subway token. And he goes, "All right, well, I'll get it back to you," and he takes it and leaves. And that little act of kindness is like it tilts the 50-50 for the wizard.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, there is good in you. So I'm gonna take a chance on you." I think that's more interesting than him being just like completely pure of heart or whatever. Yeah. And I like
definitely.
Yeah. I like the fact that the wizard is out of option, that he's running out of time. So he has to take a roll of the dice too. I am kind of sad that like we probably won't get to see that character again, because I like the fact that whenever shit got bad, Shazam can go back into himself and like find the wizard and ask him for guidance. I thought that could be a really cool dynamic. I guess he could still do that, but I think by the end of this movie they imply it's probably over.
Yeah, probably not, because I mean he broke the stick and everything.
Spoilers, man. It's all right. But yeah, I like. Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I was actually hoping that scene would be like, that was the one scene I was like, I want the scene where he gets the powers to be like kind of a big deal or something, and it is it kind of feels like a big deal, even if like afterwards it's kind of used at times for comedic effect. But when he gives it to me, it's like, I open my heart to you, Billy Batson, and name you as champion, and it's like it's a big deal. And then he says the name, and then like he sends him back to the mortal world. And as the wizard is like losing his or using the last of his magic, he says the acronyms. Like, I give you this, the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, and there's a lightning bolt for each one as he's like summoning the powers of these old gods. 7, as there are 7 members of the throne behind him. So I hope they bring these little things back in the next movie. And apparently there is a sequel is going to be made. Zachary Levi said they're already working on it, and those kid actors are going to get old real quick. So I get to move on. Let's talk about action. I felt this movie, while the action was more or less fine, we never really get a scene. What I wanted was, by the end of this movie, I wanted a scene where he goes from being like goofy and not knowing how to use his powers to having a certain level of command of them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we get that. That being said, I feel like the action is serviceable, but it definitely falls short of like Man of Steel. Like those Superman action sequences from Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I wanted like a little bit of that at the end, where he uses the full strength of his power and works him over.
I mean, you get some of that, but
yeah, you get a little bit, but not. And it's not choreographed or looks well enough for me to be like, that's as good as this other thing that.
Well, I mean, if you
like,
would
remember Batman
you
v
can't
Superman?
really make it that good, because you still got to remember this is a 13-year-old kid trying to get a grasp on not only his powers but the world.
Yeah, I guess it's only a few days, but I still wanted it. I don't care. But like, and also like he, as a character, he can tangle with Superman. Like we've seen that in the comic book. So like I mean,
he's actually, most of the time when he goes fist to fist with him, like he knocks Superman down, because his
Kingdom
power
Come
is based on magic, which is a weakness of Superman.
Yeah, Kingdom Come, especially, like there's a big, like that fight's a big deal when they fight each other.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get the idea that like by the end of this movie, like, oh, he's got a better grasp on it. There are a couple cool like moments, but I feel like just the action itself was just below. Like I felt like Batman, like if you look at that Batman v Superman, you look at like Superman versus Doomsday. That was like, I felt like he's powerful, and I wanted to get the sense that he's powerful. Now, they do make up for the lack of like amazing action. They make up for it in like ways that I would say are more emotionally satisfying, which we'll get to in spoilers. But I just didn't feel like the action was amazing. Although I liked the action in regards to like Mark Strong, Dr. Savannah's character.
Yeah.
Particularly like the first time they meet each other, it's pretty good. Like when he first flies with him or whatever. It's pretty like it would be scary.
Right, yeah, and he learns how to fly like in the middle of all of that.
Yeah. Did you so yeah, the action I didn't think was as good, but it has some moments that I thought were like redeeming. There is what did you think of like the montage of like him trying to find what all of his powers are? Like to see which, like the tests to see, does he have this? Does he have that? Does he have
I think
this?
they did that right.
Yeah.
Like posting it on YouTube and everything. Like,
yeah, trying to outsource naming him, because that's a running gag in the movie is you can't call him Captain Marvel, which is his name or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought for sure by the end of the movie, like his name is Captain, and then the credits would roll because they can't say the name. I love that would be great, but it was like the Red Shadow or something like that. They kept coming with all these names on YouTube.
Hey.
Do you think if he ever joins the Justice League, they'll ever call him by his name? Wouldn't that be great if that was a running joke? Because right as they're about to say, I'm like, hey, and like a door opens right as they're trying to call him for help or whatever. That'd be great. They won't do it,
right?
But that'd be awesome.
I think the last time I heard him called Captain Marvel is when
it was years ago. It was like that animated movie.
It was an
about the
animated
last.
movie.
I think they officially lost the ability to call him that. They can still call him that, but they can't. They can't put his name on the title.
Yeah,
they can call him that in the comic. They can call him in the comic book. They could call him Captain Marvel, but the brand has to be called something else.
Yeah.
So that's the from what I understand, that's the official rule. And also, I feel like Shazam is a more magical, cool name.
Yeah, I think it definitely fits better.
Yeah. So I thought all that. I thought the humor in this movie was very good, and it never felt. Maybe there's one or two lines that I felt was like forced, but there's like some really great jokes in here, particularly when they're trying to cut from school, and they're like, you need an adult to come and get you out. The kid rocks around the corner, and Shazam! You see like a lightning come through the roof of the school, and then he just comes back around the corner.
Oh, hey,
and
son,
hey son that I have, and hey, one of the two sons that I have who's right here next to the other son I just ran into over there around the corner. Like, it's really funny. And like he goes, Officer Dumbass or whatever his name was.
Officer Moron.
Officer Moron.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's Moraine.
Yeah, it's really good. And a lot of great jokes here. I felt like the movie does as good a job as it can of balancing like the dark stuff with the humor and like with the like heartwarming stuff.
But
Let's go through some quick negatives, and then we can get into spoilers because that's what we want to talk about right now. Because all the good stuff is spoiler stuff.
right,
Is there anything that you were like,
on
post-credit scenes? What did you think of those? Did you see all of them? Did you see any of them?
I did. Yeah.
The one at the end is just like them kind of making fun of Aquaman or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I guess this is technically spoilers. And then the first one is actually the way they end it in the comic book, which is Savannah is in prison, and then he hears like a little chattering voice or whatever.
Yeah, and that was like what was his name, Mr. Worm or
Mr.
whatever.
Mind.
Mr.
Yeah,
Mind.
it's a little caterpillar off to his right, and he's like, "I'm going to tell you about the 7 realms of magic," which is that's not in the comic book. That's in the Rebirth comics that just came out, where there are 7 worlds that you can go to, and like ours is the realm of man. There's the realm of magic, the realm of monsters, the realm of fantasy, which is like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory or something. Like there are all these different, like one is like a weird dreamland, one is like where Black Adam came from, I think, in this version, and like so like I feel like that could play into it. I don't really care what they do so long as they include, like, I want him and Black Adam to fight, and I want it to be a big deal.
Do you think Dwayne Johnson would be a good Black Adam?
Yes, I think he'll crush it.
You think so? I'm so sure.
Yeah. Didn't have the acting chops.
No, I actually think Vin Diesel would be better.
But I feel like Dwayne Johnson looks like Black Adam more.
He does.
Like they'll give him like some cool pointy ears, and like they'll give him like imagine like once he's like dished out in the suit and stuff, because a lot of people that didn't like the Shazam suit when they first saw it, and as I saw it in trailers and in motion, I was like, that looks really good. It looks one half a child's interpretation of a superhero, and like one half like the champion of a wizard. Like it looked perfect, and I felt that it would fit with the other members of the Justice League.
Dash of animation.
Yeah, I wanted the lightning bolt to have like some swirly magic going on like it does in the comics. Yeah. And here it's just like it lights up or whatever.
Well, I mean, it does kind of have something, like it sparkles and stuff when kids put their...
Yeah, that was great. I wanted more of that. But I feel like once we see Black Adam as like in a suit and like see Dwayne Johnson like trying to be like, because most of his characters are kind of funny or like charming, but Black Adam is not terribly charming. No. He's a pretty serious dude. Even if when you play him as like not a bad guy but like an anti-hero, he's still pretty serious. And that's
what kind of makes me question if Dwayne Johnson could pull that off.
Yeah, maybe doesn't have the acting chops. I feel like he'll rise to the occasion.
Maybe.
I've seen him surprise me before.
I'm excited to see.
Usually his movies are like fun kind of popcorn movies, but this one could be that, but also be like, oh, I get to play a more fun character. I like the idea that he was a slave from Egypt and the wizard chose him with his power, and then he uses the power for revenge. I guess we're comfortably in spoilers now. So this is spoilers now. We kind of see Black Adam in this movie. In that little flashback when he goes, I had a champion once, and he uses his magic to show him.
That's right.
It's not necessarily Black Adam, but you could say that's Black Adam.
Yeah,
pretty comfortably. Do you want him to have the cape and the hood, or like no cape and no hood? Like
I want no cape, no hood.
Yeah, me too.
I
want it to look like a wrestling outfit, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope we see him because I think that would be a lot of fun. I just want so at the end of this movie we get a cameo to a certain DC character. Who is it? At the end of the movie, very end of the movie.
Superman?
Yeah, it's Superman. Yeah. But we don't know if it's Henry Cavill because they don't show his face.
No,
because Henry Cavill was probably like, I love
the kid's reaction though. Like
he just like he's short of breath.
I almost kind of felt like no one told the kid that this was about to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of wonder, like, because that was like the most real acting I had gotten from that kid the whole movie.
Yeah, maybe they're like, just look over, don't look over, just look over here, I turn around. That'd be great. What they could do is like put Superman in the movie. Yeah. But maybe like show Superman off flying around, like, oh, there's this new red whatever superhero, and he's shooting lightning out of his hands,
right?
Or whatever.
Like we don't.
And he's like, oh, I got to go keep an eye on this kid. And then Black Adam shows up, and we get like that. It could be that plus them exploring the new realms of magic and Black Adam trying to stop them somehow.
Right. We could just have Superman make appearances like Iron Man did for Spider-Man and Homecoming.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that. Henry Cavill may or may not still be Superman, which really sucks because I really like him as Superman.
Right. He's been my favorite Superman yet.
Yeah. Let's talk about like since we're spoilers. Let's talk about like my best stuff when he gives his powers to his family.
Yeah,
and splits it up.
That was awesome.
Yes, it was awesome because it was funny at times. It was awesome because it's really heartwarming. It's awesome because we do get some cool action from him as well.
Yeah.
Particularly when it's a combination of like all the little sectors of the movie coming together. The like he says, like, you know, all right, like say the name, they say Shazam, the lightning bolt, and then the music starts to slowly swell up, and then the smoke clears away, and you see them all as superheroes. And the thing that made me tear up a little bit and like gave me some goosebumpies is as they're all, the camera's panning across, showing you each one of them, and you see Mary look over at Freddy. And you see him, and he's like, and you see him. I can't remember what I think he just says, "Guys," and then like you see his crutch like hit the ground, like because this kid who was a cripple is now everything he wanted to be. And you see him lift up, and he goes, "I'm flying." And you see, and the camera cuts back to Zachary Levi as Shazam, and he just slowly smiles. And I was like, it's so heartwarming. I love it. It was the thing that made me go, "This is not a good movie. It's a great movie." Because like that's the thing.
Right.
It made me forgive the fact that like the action isn't awe-inspiring, but to me, I was like, I don't care if it's awe-inspiring because like it's great wish fulfillment, and like seeing all the like kind of goofy ways they fight the demons and stuff. Also, the demons were pretty cool. I like the way those demons look. They're all weird and creepy. I like that each one of them kind of has an emphasis on a certain power. Like they can probably all do all of it, but like Pedro is like, he's like, check out these guns. He's like, his is like strength. Darla, the purple girl, the purple African American lady, she can super speed.
Yeah.
The Asian kid does Hadouken, does the fucking lightning.
Does the lightning.
Yeah. And Freddy is like can fly and stuff. So like I was like, I kind of like that each of them are like specializing in a certain kind of power. The coolest action stuff that I found was like him versus Savannah near the end, particularly like where the kid is like bashing his Superman and Batman figures, and you see Shazam come up and like paste Dr. Savannah into the ground. It's very superhero-y. You know, the ground boomed. And I was like, I wanted more of that. I wanted more of like, this man has the power of demigods and wise men. And why is Solomon in there? It's not a power. Does he have, in this movie, does he have the wisdom of, does he strike you as a wise character? He does not have the wisdom of Solomon. Or is that something that you have to learn? Like
I guess, I guess it's something you have to learn. He's got to tap into his wisdomness.
Yeah, I guess. But I felt that I was like,
maybe he just has to experience a certain emotion, like he did with figuring out his other powers.
Yeah. Did you like the plot point of like he's trying to find his mom and find out who his mom is and stuff?
I did. I loved and hated it.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie we go through thinking, oh, she just lost her kid. She got no way to find him. Yeah. And then we find out the truth, which is, well, the sad truth of also reality.
She's just a deadbeat.
Yeah, she's just a cunt.
Yeah. Did you like, but I guess like you didn't, I mean, you liked that part of the movie, but you're like, oh my God, she's mean to him. That's nice. Like, yeah, I like that his,
and then you see the actual flashback of her actual emotions.
She sees him and she just walks away.
Yeah.
I thought that was very endearing, and it kind of, it's, I thought for sure when it happened, I was going to be like, oh, is this going to be heavy handed? I thought it was pretty like even. I didn't feel like they were really playing it up. Like she hates him, tells him to get out of here, like White Fang or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it wasn't like totally heavy handed, but it has some weight there.
Yeah. And it feels like, I feel like he handles it the way he can. And I also feel like that's the thing that like makes him like grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the rest of this movie, he's mostly a dick. Like he's a dick to Freddy a lot of the times and whatever. Like that little talk he has with Freddy as he catches the bus or whatever. Also, that was a cool scene.
Yeah.
Also had one of my favorite jokes in it. We played to the eye of the tiger. He goes, lightning with my hands, lightning with my hands, lightning with my hands. So good.
And your phone's charged, and your phone's charged.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, he catches the bus, and then there's the dog that won't move, and he's like, he can't put the bus down. Like I guess that's the thing that I wanted more. I wanted more examples of like his powers getting more easy to control. And I think by the end of the movie, I kind of got that, but I wanted it to be like more satisfying. But the emotional beats with him and Freddy were very good, particularly the part where like Freddy got I can't remember, got beat up because he didn't come to lunch or
Yeah.
whatever. And I like the fact that at the end of the movie, not only does he make it up, but he flew off and found Superman. It was like, come have lunch with this kid, please.
Right.
Which means
Like,
there's some building is burning down because Superman is like, I have to go have lunch with this fucking kid. But I thought that was pretty good. Any other? I like the references to the DC universe writ large in this. He's got batarangs and bullets from that hit Superman that are worth whatever.
all that kid's memorabilia.
Aquaman shirts with the Aquaman symbol on it and stuff. I have anything. I liked it all, but if anything, I wanted more of it because I thought that like everyone kind of keeps saying they need to keep these movies self-contained and just focus on solo movies.
Well, I mean, not so self-contained. Like solo movies, yes, but still, like
keep it in a universe.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on the movie?
Oh, I do want to talk about the part where when he first got his powers and they were trying to establish themselves as a superhero, him and Freddy. So they go to this fucking realty lady. They're like, "Yes, we need a superhero lair." And then at the end of the movie, they finally find their way into that door, and they're just like, "Wait, guys, lair."
Yeah. Do you think they're going to use that as the layer? Because now he can go back. I guess he could go back to the Rock of Eternity whenever he wants to.
Yeah.
I hope they do. Yeah, that was cool. I thought it was a funny joke, but I hope they use
question / theory.
In the comic books, they use the Rock of Eternity to get to the other realms of magic.
Yeah.
So, which I think we kind of see one when they walk in a door and there's like crocodile people.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I could be wrong about that. But I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah.
But I kind of have a theory. Since he broke that stick, which is the way he transferred the powers to the other kids and to himself, and it's like broken, gone now, it's no good. Does that mean like the power encumbersomes them so as like they could pass it on to their kids?
I feel like what it is, it's like when he touches the stick and the wizard passes the power to him.
Yeah.
He has the stick and he passes the power to them.
But he broke the stick.
Exactly. So they can't give it to anybody else. You either have it or you don't now.
So it's not part of his genetics. He couldn't pass it on to his children.
No, I don't think that's how it works. I think it's more like it's.
Well, I mean, it's magic, so he could probably magically rework that.
Or he could. I mean, he could probably like eventually make another stick because the wizard is sort of like him. Like he found the magic or whatever eventually, and like he got it. So I feel like he could, but I feel like the point of this is like, no, like I know these people are good. I know they're worthy of it, so I'm going to give it to them because they're better than me.
Yeah.
Which I think the purpose of that scene is like he gives it to people that are better than him and like he learns from their example in a way. So yeah. Still good though. So good.
It was very good. Yeah. It was like the first DC movie that fully lived up to everything I wanted it to be.
I disagree with you so much on that.
I don't. For me, it was.
So yeah, you've seen all the DC movies so far? Which ones or have you not seen?
Yeah, I think I have seen them all so far.
Seen Aquaman, Wonder Woman?
Yeah. Seen Aquaman, seen Wonder Woman.
Do you have a quick ranking before we get off here?
Let's see. Yes. Shazam, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was number 1 when it came out, but then, Aquaman came out. It's like,
see, okay, I think Aquaman's better too, because the action is more thrilling for me.
And then, Batman v Superman, then Justice League.
Really? No.
Wait,
Man of Steel,
then
Squad.
Justice League. We don't count Suicide Squad.
See, mine is almost very different.
I'll count the Harley Quinn movie, and she was brilliant.
I will. Mine list might shock you because mine starts with Batman v Superman. We'll do a Batman v Superman episode so I can like properly explain why I think it's one of the best comic book movies ever.
Done that one yet, have you?
Yeah, no, because Zach always fucking sighed every time I brought it up. Oh, let it go, Rob. But people shit on that movie so hard, and I saw this movie that was like it's unlike any other comic book movie to me. Because it was
the first of it was like a new breed of comic book movie.
So for me it's probably Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. I would put Man of Steel Man of Steel Man of Steel gets better when you watch Batman v Superman because you kind of know where it's going and you see the arc play out. But if I'm honest about it, I think it's about on par with like Aquaman. For me, like I like Aquaman as much. I think the last act of the movie has a lot of destruction and buildings coming down, but I feel like that's kind of the point is you're supposed to watch that last battle with Zod and be like, Jesus Christ, this is terrifying. But Aquaman is it makes up for that with like it's more fun and it's more mythological. There's like a big mythological, like the whole movie is like it's like an Arthurian legend or something with like spaceships underwater and stuff. I like Wonder Woman, but the last act isn't as satisfying as the last act for me of like Aquaman or Man of Steel. And then I'd be like Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, Aquaman, kind of like together. Depends on my mood, I guess. Then Wonder Woman and Shazam. I think Shazam is altogether as good as Wonder Woman. I just think Wonder Woman's more serious, and I like that more. But so I'll put it right there. And then I would be like Suicide Squad, Justice League is for me. So Justice League is actually my least favorite. Not because it's bad, but because it's the most whatever. It's the most kind of generic feeling.
Yeah, Suicide Squad's definitely down there, but it never also feels like it's part of the DCEU universe.
But
even though Ben Affleck's Batman shows up.
Yeah, but it's more visually arresting. There's cool things about it. I'm like, it looks more interesting than Justice League, which just feels like
the only part of that movie I actually really cared for that much was Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
And she did
and the Batman stuff. Yeah. And the Flash cameo was pretty cool. And I like the part where Diablo turns into a big fiery skeleton and beats the shit out of that other dude. Yeah. That's pretty dope.
I actually wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I was. Because I was like, he gets his powers from a demon and they're fighting a demon. I was like, is there going to be a demon off in this movie? And I was like, that'd be pretty dope. Yeah, he's the best character of that movie, too. He's the only one that gets a character arc. When he's like, I killed my family with this stuff. And then he's like, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, well, that does it for this episode of the Movie Date Podcast. I have been Rob.
And I have been Emmett.
And we will see you guys on the next time. Please subscribe. Hopefully we'll have some artwork over the subscribe to the YouTube channel and like us on Facebook. And yeah, bye-bye.